Hey everyone, it's Shanille. Today we're going to be talking about the latest 21 Pilots album, Clancy, which came out a couple months ago, and just going through all the songs on there and ranking them from, and these are just my personal preferences and opinions, but from least favorite to most favorite. I've done this before for a couple other 21 Pilots albums, and some other band albums as well, like AJR, so I'll link some of them just around on this video or in the description. But I think these are always enjoyable videos to go through to just kind of think about, what you value and what you appreciate in music, whether you're more of a lyric person, which I'm not, or whether you're more of an instrumental, a rhythm, a beat person, and the things that stand out to you in music and what makes your favorite songs your favorite songs. And so every time I make one of these videos, it always gives me a chance to reflect on that a little bit, and I hope it can do the same for you. And, just like with all the videos in the past, if you want to share your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear those. So, all that said, let's go ahead and start with number 13. The worst ranked song is Lavish. Lavish, and I'm so sorry, because I know people love this song, and I see it all the time, and I know it's blowing up on Instagram with the Lavish Cafe, and everyone's playing it, and everyone loves the music video, which the music video is great. But I was so torn on this one because I didn't know if I should put it at number 12 or number 13. And so this one took a while because I was sitting there and I was like, would I rather listen to the number 12 song that I have or Lavish? And it was so close, but Lavish just is not it for me. So my first thought with this song was it reminded me a lot of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, that whole Beatles era where they were doing like the LSD, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and it just sounds so airy, but not in a good way. It just sounds a little emptier, and I wish this song gave me more to advocate for in terms of like lyrics or the melody. When I listen to it, it's just so, it's just out there, and it doesn't give me a reason to make me listen to it. For me, a big part of music and what makes me listen to a song is the way it makes me feel. And Lavish just doesn't make me feel anything, which is just a personal thing. Some people love things like the Dumb song from AJR. People will listen to that because they like those like songs. For me, those songs just don't hit. So Lavish fell in that category. I'm going through some of my notes here. I noted that melodically it sounds like Tyler's bored. The chorus singing just really isn't my style, and the rapping kind of vibe or tone makes him seem a little disinterested, and so that was a little weird for me. Lyrically, I put that I just did not know what was going on. Like, the song, I know the song isn't meant to be deep, but there are so many weird lines in there. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, where it's hard for me to enthusiastically follow and listen to the song and be like, yeah, like I love this song. I don't. I don't like it. And then when I think of Josh, the drums don't really stand out to me. I think a big part of 21 Pilots that a lot of people appreciate is how iconic the drum beats can sound from Josh, and nothing really stood out for Lavish, so there wasn't anything I could point out from the song other than how fun the music video was to watch, and so I'll listen to it when I'm watching the music video, but other than that, it's not on my playlist. Okay, number 12, which was really close to tying with Lavish, was Snapback. And Snapback was difficult because that was my least favorite for such a long time, until I realized I didn't like Lavish that much either. But lyrically, and just the way it sounds, the way Tyler's voice sounds, he sounds bored. It's just like the Lavish one, but in a different way, where he seems like he's dragging himself through the song. And it's just when you sound disinterested in your voice when you're singing, I'm just the whole chorus is very hard to keep me engaged. Now, I did note one redeeming quality. It is the chorus lyric, running from a thing that I kicked in 17, is it even right for my head to keep track? When I heard that, because I don't really listen to lyrics, I don't. But when I do, and I pay attention, it just, that one resonated with me a little bit. It was that part, and also the outro at the end where he's talking about how, just the whole line about elasticity, his elasticity wanting it to return, I could feel what he was feeling through the lyrics, and I think artists who can do that do a really, really good job. I've always been a fan of Tyler's music since way back, and so watching him take different approaches with some of these songs. That was really good, and so that moved that song up a place, whereas with Lavish, I couldn't find anything to move it up. All right, number 11 is going to be The Craving, Jenna's version. I wish I could put this song higher because when they did the music video premieres and they did the live streams, I was watching the video and I did tear up and I did cry a little bit. It was very sweet to watch, and I think especially if you've been a fan of 21 Pilots for a long time and you know, like you've seen Tyler and you've seen his struggle through like a whole bunch of stuff and seen him write music and listen to his music and watched him perform it and watch his music videos and the whole evolution of not just 21 Pilots, but Tyler specifically over time and his relationship with Jenna. This is a very sweet song, and I really do, I feel that, you know? But I find myself always skipping this song. I think the single version definitely is a little more for me. I'm just not really a person who listens to more instrumentally empty songs, and that one is. And that one makes it a little harder for me to listen to. I just don't find much to groove with. I'm definitely more of like a groover is that a word? I don't know. I like to vibe to the song, and the song did not let me vibe to it because it's just too like empty. But the single version definitely did a really good job with that. What I noted here for The Craving, we walked through Tyler's deep emotions and his perceptions with his relationship with Jenna. I think it's articulated really well. He does a really good job at expressing his vulnerability in a very raw way, and it's just overall like a very beautiful piece. And I think again it just speaks to how creative Tyler can be with the more love songs in his albums, because they always are they're always a step above the generic love songs. There's always a little more to it, something you feel in a relationship that most people don't talk about, and just really honing in on that side of it. So I think that song does a really good job at it, and I really appreciate it. I just skip it most of the time, so it does rank a little lower for me. Okay, number 10 is Backslide, and I feel so bad putting this so low, but I remember when the single came out and I was so excited because we had like, you know, Overcompensate, Kick Everything Off, and Next Semester. I think Next Semester came before Backslide, and as each single came out, I felt not so great about just the progression of it, because Overcompensate was so strong, and I didn't feel that great about Backslide, and I felt so bad because the first 50 seconds of the song are very strong, and the instrumental is great. I don't know if you've watched like the production breakdowns from Paul Meany, I think I'm saying his name right, but it's a very great like produced song. It's amazing. I love the way it's done. Backslide, once you get past the 50-second mark, it feels painful in the most loving, like, I'm saying this in the most loving way, because I feel bad saying it's painful, but the song, I don't know too much about vocal strain, and maybe he's not straining his voice in the chorus, but it sounds like it hurts, and not in like an emotional way, like a physical way. It sounds difficult to get through. But it's hard, because I love the lyrics, I love the pre-chorus, I love the instrumental breakdown, I love the production side of that song. I think if they would have stuck to those core elements that made it really good, it would have done such a good job. Again, this is just my preference and just my opinion. It would have ranked a little higher on my list, but that chorus for me is just, I don't like it. I wish they would have stuck to some of the other great parts of the song, in my opinion, and kind of kept that going in the chorus, which wasn't really the case. Number 9 is Midwest Indigo, and this song, actually, I'm surprised it's this high. It used to rank a lot lower for me. What moved it up is I think just the more I listened to it, because I've just played it on instruments a lot more, and just gotten to listen to it a bit more, and I've come to appreciate it and understand what the song is about. And after understanding what the song is about, you know, even just listening to the music video or seeing the music video, you feel that the song feels cold, which is what it's supposed to do, right? They're Ohio people, and they understand what those winters are like. They understand what that feels like. I grew up in Canada for like 11, 12 years, and those winters, like it's such a specific feeling when you grow up with that. And I think that song does a really, really good job at capturing that. Not just in the lyrics, like the lyrics are very upfront with that, but the vibe of the song, I'm not too well versed on like what those instruments are or what they're using, but it sounds very cold, which is great. That's exactly what they were going for. In terms of the actual song structure itself, I noticed the song tends to rely a lot on two pillars note-wise, the first note of the key and the fifth note when it comes to like music theory. And those aren't really my songs if there's not much tension or like not a lot of movement around those two notes. It's a very like da da, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's just very cold. It feels cold. You're like two very strong notes that have a very specific kind of sound that makes it feel cold. You've also got the Travis Barker style drum beat kind of to some degree, which makes it feel like the song's moving. And that when you visualize the music video with that and just like the moving pieces of it, you're like, okay, I feel like I'm driving in Ohio. This is great. This is exactly what they wanted me to feel. So I like the song. I don't listen to it too often, but I definitely appreciate it and I don't dislike it. So that's where it ranks. Number 8 is Oldie Station. And again, this song was so much lower for me. And it wasn't until recently that it moved up because of the bridge. The bridge did such a good job with making you feel things, but I'll get to that part. Oldie Station I did not like because of those like higher, I don't know if it's higher pitch, but those like crowd yelling effects or not effects, but the people that they've got like yelling, nothing in the tank, the relative pain part. So it sounds very weak. I thought, if they were to do another take of it or do like an acoustic version of it, they could maybe change that a bit to like something a little more pleasant sounding, because I just tend to like more pleasant sounding things, and to me that was, I don't know what they were going for with that. I don't know what that was supposed to like evoke in me. It just, I didn't like it, and I don't know if most people did. But the bridge was good. The bridge was good because of the lyrics, and I don't really listen to lyrics until I've got no other choice, and I've listened to like the song a million times, and then I'm like, I might listen to the lyrics this time around. But I noticed the melody of the bridge was just stuck in my head over and over and over again. Like after, just when I was trying to fall asleep, when I was just doing whatever, when I was working, like that song was stuck in my head, and I was like, okay, that must be, they did a pretty good job of making that catchy. The more I thought about the lyrics, the more I listened to it, it just, I think Tyler did a really good job at coming across as very genuine, naming these very specific things that you can kind of take in and be like, okay, well, maybe I haven't been in that specific situation, like that specific one that he's calling out, but I understand where he's coming from and I understand the story he's trying to tell here, and that makes the song something you can appreciate. It's very, very sweet. It makes you feel hopeful. The chord progression is, it does kind of make you feel a little more hope inside. And so that, I love the way that bridge makes me feel. And so that's why that song moved up a little bit for me. 7 is Next Semester. This was tough. These were all tough. But it was tough because I asked myself, would you rather listen to Next Semester or would you rather listen to Oldie Station? And I chose Next Semester because I feel like it still holds the weight that Oldie Station brings while bringing in a lot of, in my opinion, better instrumental sounds and just a little more of a moving song that I could kind of get behind just from the things that I prefer in music. And so I was able to get behind Next Semester a little more than Oldie Station. I think it also does a good job at holding the lyrical weight that Oldie Station did. Josh's drums are amazing. I think that was such a big factor in what moved the song up a little bit for me. I think if you've ever drummed to this song, or if you've ever watched a drum cover to this song, or just watched Josh drum to it, I think that helps you like appreciate how cool this song is, because a lot of the energy comes from the drums, which you might not notice if you're not a musician and you're not paying attention to the layers behind and you're just really listening to the words. Like, why do I feel so driven? Why do I feel like I want to get up and run? And then you watch Josh drum and you're like, oh, he's doing it. He's making me do that. He is the one who is driving a lot of this song, and I think he does a really good job at it. Now, vocally, this song took a little time for me to get used to Tyler's voice, because it does feel a little different. It I guess different to his newer stuff, because it kind of feels like a callback to like his old stuff, way back. The way he kind of pushes himself here, but I think the music video does a really good job at painting the picture of what the song is supposed to be, which is a huge crowd singing at the top of their lungs, like these hopeful lyrics that tell a really important message. And I think the song does a really good job instrumentally at really pushing those lyrics up, like so everyone can take from them and know what the song is about. As someone who doesn't really listen to lyrics, which I know, again, like I don't know how uncommon that is for people, but that one was hard for me to ignore the lyrics because of just how out there they were. They shaped the song, and Tyler did a really good job at highlighting that. It makes you feel hopeful, it makes you feel good, it makes you feel like you want to run. I think, well, it's not one of my favorite songs on the album, it's a really good one. Number 6 is Paladin Straight, and now we're getting to the songs that I love. And I love them so much, and it's gonna be so hard to just put this into words because these songs, like, I love them so much, like these top 6 ones. Paladin Straight, it's so good. It makes you feel so much, which I think is a big reason why I love this song. The verse is really beautiful. The lyrics do a really good job at, again, bringing that theme of hope. Nothing is like jarring in the song, and everything kind of moves in pieces that fit very nicely together. There are lines in the song that kind of mirror each other from a melody standpoint and are kind of put after another with slight changes, and that makes the song very soothing to listen to. So it's not, like I said, it's not jarring, and overall it's an easy listen. Like, you feel a lot listening to the song, and I think the music visualizer does a really, or not the music visualizer, the first video that they put out for the song, where he's sitting on kind of that cliffside playing the ukulele, you get a feel for what that song is supposed to feel like. You know, it's very peaceful. There's many lines in there that are good. There's one line, I guess 2 lines technically, where he's talking about, you know, making its way towards me or making its way towards you. And the way he ends with that is so good because his voice is so resonant and so rich. The way, like, it just kind of leaves more space for the instrumental to kind of like pull at your heart a little bit. You feel like you're in Dima, like you're pulled into the storyline. Tyler does a really good job at like pulling you into the story. You feel like, is Tyler gonna make it? What's gonna happen? Is it like gonna be a huge fight? Like every lyric in this song, every line feels like it has a very rich meaning. It's so good, and I can't say that about every song. Like the proctologist line in Lavish, which just feels very out of place and weird. Paladin Straight does a really good job at making this feel very rich. The elephant in the room with this song is the minute of silence. The minute of silence is weird. I don't like it. I don't know why it's there. I was talking with my boyfriend about it, and he put it really well, where it's like, he said that having the minute of silence makes sense if it's in the music video, because a lot of songs do this. You know, you have extra silence added to the music, or to the song in the music video, to tell more of a story, to add room for a story. Having a minute of silence in the song makes it very hard for me to show the song to other people. Like if I'm driving in the car, I'm like, hey, listen to this really cool song, and then it just has a minute of silence and I'm just like skipping through it, and I'm like, okay, sorry, hold on, because it's just such a good song, and I think the minute takes away from it. Even if it's lore based, I think it could have made its way to the music video and not the Spotify version. I really don't know why that minute of silence is there, and it just doesn't feel like it fits. Number 5 is Vignette. I think Vignette? How do you say that? Vignette? I don't know. We're gonna say Vignette? I don't know, Vignette, sure. Okay, Vignette is a cool song. It makes you, it's so energetic. It starts off with those like really strong crashes. I think the hi-hat pattern from Josh that he puts into the song is very unique. It's very cool. It has a lot of energy. It's very intentional. It's just a very bold song. Like, it's one that stands out on the album. The way Tyler talks about fighting off, or just, you know, kind of being enclosed by the vignette is a very, it creates a very nice picture. And I think this is another great example of when Tyler, in past 21 Pilots songs, pairs ways to describe something that would happen with, and applies those things to some kind of scenario or an object or something that you wouldn't normally pair it with, but when it happens, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I like the way he explained that, and I get what he's trying to do, because when you imagine it, you're like, I've never thought of a vignette. Like, you edit your photos and you've got like, especially if you were on Instagram in 2013, 2014, you had your vignette on every single photo. And you're like, okay, cool effect, whatever. Now, if you listen to the music and the lyrics and you imagine what he's telling you, you're like, oh, it's like darkness that's closing in, and you feel yourself like fighting it off, and there's that struggle there, but you've never thought of it like that before. But he doesn't have to like write it out for you to like read word for word exactly what he's trying to say. You just get it, and I think Tyler does a really good job at that. I think this song is another example of Tyler using his higher pitched voice. I don't know if it's his head voice. I'm not a singer. I don't know. But this would have been a really, like, the way he used his voice here would have been great in Oldie Station for like the shout out parts, like where the crowd is yelling out like these things. It would have sounded a lot more pleasant, in my opinion, if that kind of like nicer sounding voice would have been used for that. But overall, I think this song is a very creative song. I love how it stands out. It's just such a bold one on the album, and it's very nice to listen to. Speaking of bold songs, number 4 is Navigating, and I feel very strongly that this is the song with the most hit potential on the album. And I think I felt this way when I first listened to the album. I was like, man, this song stands out. You have such a catchy chorus. You have the whole song. I mean, it feels like a Trench song, which makes sense, right? It's a lore music video. You watch it, it connects to past videos. It's just on its own such a strong song. Aside from Josh's drums, which are spectacular in this song, like this song is crazy to drum to, and he does like, it's just such a great song to watch him drum to listen to the drums. This song brings so much energy, partly because of the drums. I think just overall the song does a really good job to make you feel like you're like driving around at night with the windows down, blasting music, like that whole vibe. There are some songs that do a really good job of making you feel that way, and I love songs like that. Like this song kind of just fills you up with adrenaline, makes you feel like you want to just get up and run somewhere. It makes you feel good. It also feels like your mind is racing like throughout this whole song, and I think lyrically and vocally, just the way Tyler paints this picture, he does, again, a really, really good job at this. You take the bridge, for example, when the instruments kind of pull back and Tyler's kind of telling this story about like how everybody leaves and he's not really taking breaths. It's very urgent. Like the way he's saying it all sounds very urgent. It's said in such a way where I could imagine him singing it differently and it wouldn't have the same effect. And the way he chose to do it is perfect for the song. It makes you feel like you just gotta go. You gotta go. Number 3 is Overcompensate. Now that I'm reading this, I don't know if it should be number 3. Navigating was so good. They're so close for me. But Overcompensate was the lead single for this album. It's such a heavy lore-based song. The music video is such good quality stuff. It's really fun to watch. What really stood out to me with this song is the drumming from Josh, which I think is going to be a common theme for all 21 Pilots songs to come, in the future. But it always amazes me how Josh is so creative with what he can do with the drums, because you think back to like older songs, Message Man, Lane Boy, We Don't Believe What's on TV, like songs that are very unique because of the drums. And those drum patterns become iconic when people do drum covers, those are like the songs that people do because it's like Josh specific, He created this. It's not really like any other song. Whereas like a lot of bands, their drumming can sound like kind of a copy and paste with a little bit of modification from just other more generic songs. So then you have Trench comes around, and then you've got things like Jumpsuit, Nico and the Niners, like Smithereens, just some really, really strong songs from Trench drumming wise that I'm like, okay, there's Josh, he's got to run out at some point, with drumming stuff. So this whole album came out, but when Overcompensate came out, I was like, he did it. He did it again. So he doesn't stick to a predictable pattern. It's really nice. I think Tyler, again, does a really good job. And this has got to be why 21 Pilots is so successful, with Josh's unique, creative drumming talent and Tyler's ability to make the listener visualize things that most other bands don't really pinpoint as well, and make it sound not cringy, which I know is something that a lot of people tend to overlook or not think about too much, but you know, if a song is cringy, you're gonna write it off. 21 Pilots, well, there's a good chunk of people that will probably put them in the cringy category. I'd say most people don't, from what I've heard, and so they do a pretty good job with that, just at least from what I've observed. Especially, like, you know, when you compare it to some other bands, I think they hold up pretty well. Lyric-wise, for example, the line, "I fly by the dangerous bend symbol." I'm like, that paints a really good picture. How did you think of that? Like, I fly by the dangerous bend symbol. I mean, the tune of that is very catchy. I love listening to that part. Like, that part is probably my favorite part of the song when I listen to it. But it's like, that paints such a distinct picture. I'm like, Tyler, how did you think of that? Like, to tell the story that, you know, you're basically just speeding by, ignoring the warning signs. Number 2 is At the Risk of Feeling Dumb. I really love this song. I think for a lot of people, because I know it's kind of popular, a lot of people tend to like it because of the lyrics. And I do really like the lyrics, but I did not really listen to them until like a while after I was like playing the song on repeat, and then I kind of read through them. What stood out to me was the more like rock-based instrumental part, closer to the second half of the song. It's such a unique song for sure. Like, you listen to the way it's produced and how like some parts are echoed. If you listen to the backup vocals, it's very interesting. Like, the melodies they're interesting, and the echoes of some words, and just like how it feels like you're kind of like bouncing back and forth between like just different elements of the song. It's very unique. But yeah, I think this song is another example of things that like could be worded in a cringy way, but they didn't do it that way, and it does a really good job. So the lyrics, which are a huge part of why people love this song, kind of goes into reaching out to your friends, but it takes a different spin on it because it kind of flips it in the overthinker way, where you're like, do I reach out to them? I want to reach out to them, of course I do. There's this overthinking piece where you're like, am I gonna look dumb? Which is the whole song, right? At the risk of feeling dumb. And the way they put it, you know, I think if you go read the lyrics, I think it tells the story really well, but you're like, as you're reading it, like, I do feel those things, but I never thought about it like that. I just felt those things and didn't dwell on it any more than that. And so people like that. Like, when it's a feeling that you felt before, it's relatable, but it's not so on the nose that you're like, you know, I broke up with my partner and it hurt, and I like texted a breakup text, just so on the nose. And people really like the stuff where you can start to infer, like, it's so it's specific, but it's not, and it's not the first thought you'd go to when you think of like reaching out to a friend who's dealing with more difficult stuff. So I really like the song, love the way it sounds. It's my second favorite on this whole album, so I really like it. Number 1, I think this is a ton of people's favorites. Routines in the Night. Such a good song. It is so good. I wouldn't be surprised if this is my most played song of 2024. Like, I listen to it all the time. Lyrically, it's great. Instrumentally, it's great. I cannot believe Tyler did not want to keep this song on the album. Like, he trolls a lot. Like, I want to say he's trolling, because how can you think that? Like, it just doesn't make sense. But I think the song does a really good job at capturing basically what you see in the music video. It's like this kind of nostalgic way of thinking, but also kind of like an overthinking way, where you're like up at night, again, relatable, up at night, and you're overthinking, and it kind of paints this picture of like, it's more introspective. Let me not just talk about how I'm overthinking, but let me take you through this journey of like the hallways that I see in my head, the doors to the rooms that I'm not gonna go in, the doors that like, you know, evoke certain feelings, that I, you know, feel this specific way, and how it's just so, it's just such a deep feeling. And I think people who have been there, especially like relate to some of the way that Tyler words these things. Even though the drums are simpler, it's still an iconic drum beat. I think it's one of those things, again, like, it's such a simple drum beat. It's simple, but it still stands out as unique, and you can point out like, it's, you know, that's Routines in the Night. I also think the mix, the production, everything on here is just, it's mixed so well, where something about like Tyler's voice, it's like almost clean, like, you know, like he's singing right in front of you, but there's some like very thin, I'm not like a production person, like, you know, I don't know the words for this. It's like this thin like filter or layer that's like you want more of it. Like, it's so good. I know, like, I could name a handful of songs that I love like this, where I feel like they purposely filter it too much because they know it sounds so good, and they want you to keep playing it on repeat because you just like want to get that like filter off and get like the music closer to your ear. You can't do it. Routines is one of those songs. I think it's mixed so well. The music video is really good. It's such a catchy song. I think it has a lot of hit potential as well, just like Navigating. My favorite song, probably one of my favorite songs in general of all time. It has nothing to criticize, in my opinion. I can't find a single thing I don't like about that song. So I want to thank Josh for advocating for this song, and I guess Tyler too for writing it. But also, you know, thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm sure there are going to be a handful of people that disagree about Lavish. Let me know your thoughts. I think it's really great that people have different opinions and things that they like about songs that stand out to them, and things that you value about music. Kind of like I mentioned in the beginning, that, you know, might be something you value but not something that someone else values. Those things are really interesting to me, so, you know, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, I don't know if you could tell my lighting changed drastically because the sun was setting and now it's like nighttime, so I've just got like inside lights now, but thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one.